I write about small things like prostates, although my prostate was big. It was the size of an orange. And they got it smaller and then I'm better again. So that's the whole story. The other story, though, is, apart from the fact that I'm deeply again honoured to be selected from a short list of such excellent books and such wonderful books, and I do feel humble about that. I would also like to, for a moment, own the award, because I've spent 30 years telling stories in plays or in books. I've told stories about the secrets in the church, and I've told stories about secrets in paramilitaries in the north. And I feel deeply that things like people are silenced all the time. I think a Pussy Riot at the moment, that double act, and so many other people down through history. And the power of telling stories is wonderful. And RTÉ and all the television stations in Ireland have done a powerful job over 30 or 40 years. You know, there's people who are no longer with us who are making programmes, and they will be remembered too for 50, 60 years as great storytellers. Because the powerful story really is your own story. In the sense, your own story is a fiction. I believe memoir is just as much a fictional, beautiful art form as it was in Proust's time. And I find that as you get older, you don't just tell stories that are big stories, but you find these small little things. Like, I have two cats, Ronnie and Roxy, based on the EastEnder characters, and one of them died. Ronnie died. And Roxy is depressed. No, she really is. And that's a very small thing. And I know, like, even on a serious small thing, but I remember when my mother was dying, and she could barely breathe. We couldn't take fluids or liquids, but she'd love a little bit of aero. The nurse would give her a little bit of aero on her tongue, and she'd suck it, and she got pleasure out of that. And those tiny little small things, as I've got older, I've found there's a huge spirit in them. There's a huge sense of us in those small things, and it's such a privilege to write about them. And it's an extraordinary privilege to be among the great writers in this room and to be honoured like this. So thank you so much.